when you don't plan and you have an unsuccessful end. So systematic means when you plan and do something carefully such that you have a successful end. So systematic is the final answer, and that is option A. Now to the second part, which has to do with nearest in meaning. The instruction reads, in each of question 51 to 65, choose the option nearest in meaning to the word or phrase underlined. Question 51. Some men will continue to cause offenses until they are given a taste of their own medicine. A taste of their own medicine in this context means revenge, meaning that you have to pay back in their coin. So option A, placated, B, revenge on, C, recompensed, and D, cured. The answer is option B, which is a revenge on. Question 52. Okibe was rusticated for his derogatory remark about the principal. Derogatory means expressing a low opinion of someone or something, or showing a lack of respect for someone or something. So derogatory as used in the context means showing lack of respect for the principal. Option A, complimentary, B, unsavory, C, unwarranted, and D, lackluster. The answer to this is unsavory. It means something that is unpleasant. So we have option B as a final answer. Question 53. Justice is difficult to enforce because people are unwilling to accept any loss of sovereignty. Sovereignty is the underlying expression, and sovereignty means unlimited power over a country, and it also means freedom from external control. So we are looking for the nearest in meaning to sovereignty. A, autonomy. Autonomy means independence or free from influences. Position is not synonymous to sovereignty. Leadership is not synonymous to it. Likewise, kingdom. So we have autonomy, which is option A as a final answer. Question 54. There are still virtues remain in our society today. The underlined expression is virtuous. Virtuous means morally good or having or exhibiting moral. Options: A, clever, B, upright, C, devilish, and D, intelligent. Intelligent and clever are not close to the meaning of virtuous. Devilish is the opposite of virtuous, while upright is synonymous to virtuous. So we have option B as a final answer. Question 55. The type of question is typical of a lazy teacher. Typical means normal of a person, thing or group, or happening in a usual way. And this is trying to communicate that such questions normally come from lazy teachers. Options: A, symptomatic, B, characteristic, C, universal, and D, incontestable. The answer is characteristic. That means it is a characteristic of a lazy teacher to set such questions. Option B. Question 56. Akin is an inveterate gambler. Inveterate gambler. Inveterate is the underlined expression, and it means always or often doing something specified, or always or often happening or existing. So that means that Akin always gambles. He gambles every time. So we have option A, selfish and self-centered, and extremely unlucky but popular. Option C, an incurable but fearful, and option D, a long time and incorrigible. The answer here is a long time and incorrigible gambler. So we have option D as a final answer. Question 57. He was too petrified to give the closing remark at the conference. Petrified is the underlined expression, and it means to make someone very afraid or to confound with fear, amazement, or awe. So we have option A, frightened, B, delighted, C, agitated, and D, happy. The answer to this is frightened. It has to do with fear. So option A is a final answer. Question 58. During a particular time of the day, the road shimmers in the heat. Shimmers is the underlined expression, and it means to shine with a light that seems to move slightly. And we have option A to D. Option A darkens, B lightens, C shines, and D beam. The answer is shines because it has to do with a shining light that seems to move slightly. So we have option C as a final answer. Question 59. Every human being is vulnerable to communicable diseases. The underlined word is vulnerable, and vulnerable means easily hurt or harmed. Easily hurt or harmed physically, mentally, and emotionally. It also means open to attack, harm, or damage. So we are looking for the nearest meaning to vulnerable, and option A reads liable, B lifted, C immune, and D closed. Immune is opposite to vulnerable. Lifted is not close to vulnerable, closed is not close to vulnerable, while liable is the nearest meaning to it. So we have option A to and question 59. Question 60. Miriam looks rather furtive to Shehu. The underlined word is furtive, and furtive means done in a quiet and secret way to avoid being noticed. The options: A intoxicated, B unfriendly, C sad, and D sly. The answer is sly because sly has to do with deceit or doing something so that people won't notice you. So we have option D as a final answer. Question 61. The students' union leader delivered the speech extempore. Extempore is the underlined expression, and it means made up or done without special preparation. Done without special preparation. That means the students' union leader delivered a speech that he did not prepare for. Options: A out of hand, B off the cuff, C accurately, and D courageously. The answer is off the cuff because this has to do with doing things without preparation. Question 62. His story gave us an inkling of what he passed through during the strike. The underlined expression is inkling. Inkling means a slight, uncertain idea about something, or a slight indication or suggestion. It means it could also mean a slight knowledge or value or vague notion. A slight knowledge or vague notion about something. Options: A possible idea, B a taste, C a summary, and D right view. A taste, a summary, a right view are not close to the meaning of inkling, and they cannot suit into the position it is occupying in the sentence. So we have possible idea as a final answer because it has to do with an uncertain idea about something. Option A is the answer. Question 63. These policies have been espoused by the ruling party. These policies have been espoused by the ruling party. Espoused is the underlined expression. And espoused means to espouse means to take up and support a cause or become attached to. Options: A condemned. Condemned is the opposite of espoused. Reject is also the opposite, is also an opposite to espoused. And then we have supportive. Supported is synonymous with espoused. And then outlined does not relate to espoused. So we have option C, which is supported. Question 64. We must not foreclose reconciliation as the purpose of a strip. The underlined expression is foreclose. It means to take back property because the money owed for the property has not been paid. It means to shut out or to hold exclusively. It also means to deal with or close in advance. As it is used in this context, it means to exclude, and that is option A. Option B reads: consider, C. Underestimate, and D. Forgo. The remaining options do not relate to foreclose, but we have option A, which is exclude. Question 65. Are findings exploded widely? Are findings exploded widely held beliefs about learning? Explode in this context means to change in a very sudden and violent way, or to move with sudden speed or force. It could also mean to prove something wrong. So here we have exposed as proving that the belief that is widely held is debunked or proved wrong. So we have option A, challenge, B, debunked, C, projected, and D, confirmed. Confirmed is the opposite of exploded as used in the context. So we have debunked as the nearest meaning to exploded. 2011 UTME use of English questions. The paper type is type C. Instruction. In each of questions 26 to 40, choose the option nearest in meaning to the word or phrase in italics. Question 26. Since its inception in 1983, the newspaper has attracted thousands of readers. Inception means the time at